someone has to leave us earlier than the end of the panel. So as we know, women have lost their jobs more often than men during the pandemic, and women have had the burden of the closed schools, of course. So they have been double challenged by this crisis, and so I would enlarge our discussion to what is happening now, what would happen in the future. I would like to involve now our next panelist, who is Cecilia Palazuelos García Bringas. I hope I'm spelling it right. She's president of Fundación de Agentes Aduanales para la Asistencia Infantil. And we have already talked about the burden that, of course, the women have shouldered during this crisis, but also children. I mean, schools have been closed in the whole world. This has been such a burden for children. Now we have the first studies about the devastating consequences on their psychology and so on. But there's also, of course, Lydie said it, there's also an economic side of this, because women have more often are obliged to leave their jobs to care for the family. Cecilia.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the invitation. For us at Fundación, it's very important to help all the necessary social organizations that are targeting education and health. Resilience for us is not just riding the wave, it's making a change. And worldwide, all the funds stop coming into the organizations. And we had to get creative, and we had to do things to start this role and getting all the things we needed. So from Fundación, that is based on the customs broker from Mexico, and we work all over Mexico. We created two major initiatives that didn't involve money per se. We started with one that was called, or is called, Importing Smiles, where we help all these organizations that receive funds and receive merchandise from all over the world to clear them through customs, and the customs brokers do it pro bono. This will help the organizations to manage their finances and to help and aid the children who are most needed, as you well said. And with all this, we also created another initiative, a pilot initiative that now it will be, I'm sure, a permanent initiative that is dedicated to zero hunger. We recovered last year, with the worst of the pandemic, 100 tons of food and perishables that then we distributed to the banks, the food banks in Mexico, and then they in turn gave it to the more needed persons in Mexico. So this is the way that we are doing from the foundation, from our customs broker perspective, help, because we know that the money is not flowing, that commerce are closing, and this usually is harmful for everyone, and especially children, as you say. And if we forget education and forget all their health, we are left with nothing. So we are helping them, and by helping them, we're helping the mothers. And that's the way we are thinking of how to solve this problem and how to get help where it's more needed. And an interesting thing here is that most of our aid and most of our helpers are women, because they have this social thing and mind that will help them grow and will help the children do what they need to do to grow and have a healthy life. So this is how commerce where I come from as a custom worker and a freight forwarder, are helping children through a social organization and a social view of things to be done and to be done properly in this COVID pandemic.
Thank you. You have, thank you for your great work also. You have a privileged point of view, of course, from your organization. So have you noticed in this pandemic crisis an awakening, more awareness about how important it is, especially in some countries, the education, the instruction? What did you see? Did you see a positive evolution or a negative one? What was your experience in this?
Unfortunately, many of the children that live in rural parts of Latin America do not have the necessary communication equipment to go to school. Now school is online, and we cannot do it, and we cannot get to them. So we have all these children going 50 years back to where the education needed. So we also created a special perspective. All of those computers that we usually use, or we consider them that were not up to date, we have been donating them and putting them up to the point so we can donate them to these rural cities and kids so they can use them to get into school, because that's a huge gap that we have. Usually we just think about the cities, but we're forgetting the countryside, where there are also kids who need education and who cannot have a computer or cell phone to get into school. So these are the initiatives created by a group of women trying to help these kids go to school and to shorten the gap that we have between the privileged group and the kid that doesn't have all the necessary things to go to school.